Hi, this is Fred, and I'm here for the Room at the Table Chapter 8 discussion. Chapter 8, entitled Equity in Action, builds on previous discussions about leadership and health equity by urging leaders to move beyond awareness into intangible strategies that dismantle inequities. The chapter focuses heavily on the idea that action should be grounded in both policy and relational approaches, placing an emphasis on integrating lived experiences of marginalized groups into decision making. While this may sound progressive and well meaning, the chapter leans on the notion that lived experiences of individuals, particularly those from historically marginalized backgrounds, should be central to all policy reforms. While lived experiences can provide important insights, they are not the sole criteria for driving effective policy solutions. One of the main arguments in Chapter 8 is that policies built without considering the voices of those directly impacted by inequities will inevitably fall short of achieving real equity. While this seems intuitive, it also risks over-relying on anecdotal evidence rather than concrete, data-driven solutions. While it is important to hear from communities about their experiences with healthcare access, framing all policy discussions around these experiences would lead to emotional responses rather than pragmatic approaches. The chapter overlooks the fact that strong policy reform requires both an understanding of lived experiences and an analysis grounded in research and evidence. Although personal stories are valuable, they cannot replace comprehensive, systematic approaches to healthcare reform. The chapter's emphasis on dismantling invisible structures of power is another example of progressive rhetoric that tends to blur the line between genuine systemic issues and imagined barriers. While no one can deny that inequities exist in the healthcare system, the assertion that these are driven solely by entrenched power dynamics oversimplifies a much more nuanced problem. It also risks alienating those who are part of the healthcare system but do not identify with this narrative of oppression and power imbalances. By framing all inequities as being perpetrated by those in power, the chapter overlooks the strides that have been made in promoting equity from within these various systems. The quote, leadership for equity means acting boldly to disrupt systems, not just making adjustments, seems to encourage a radical rethinking of health equity that may not be practical or sustainable in real world contexts. While bold action is sometimes necessary, the notion that incremental changes aren't sufficient doesn't consider that many systemic shifts have occurred gradually through policy adjustments, trial programs, and evidence based reforms. Sweeping changes without careful planning and broad stakeholder involvement will fail to address the root causes and can create unintended consequences that set progress back. Chapter 8 also gets into the role of leaders as facilitators of equity rather than the traditional top down decision making. It suggests that true equity requires those in leadership positions to decentralize power and make space for marginalized voices at every level of decision making. While this is a noble concept, it risks underestimating the expertise and responsibility that leaders must carry. Leadership, particularly in healthcare, is often about making tough decisions that consider both individual needs and the broader public good. While creating spaces for more voices is important, the notion that leaders should simply act as facilitators oversimplifies the complex, multifaceted role of leadership in health equity. Thank you.